Hello and welcome to another update video about Solana. Ready for Saturday. Solana reached our targets. $55.70 was the next target. That was reached now and it's slowing down. Yeah, it's slowing down and that's okay because it is massively overextended anyway. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say overextended because let's be honest, the 1.236 extension is a common target for a third wave. There's absolutely nothing unusual, but it obviously rallied quite a bit in a short period of time, so it needs those moments of consolidation, and it doesn't seem to be exhausted. So what is important to understand is that we're dealing here in the yellow wave count, which is the primary count, with a diagonal. So the C wave that we're tracking here is an ending diagonal structure. So that means we have here a wave a wave 1 in the yellow count, which is a corrective rally. We have a wave 2 to the downside. Down here we had a trend reversal area. Anybody who used it back then is probably a happy person. The third wave is now unfolding, likely still. Yeah, the pullback could have already started from the time or from the moment we reached $44.60. At the time I also mentioned to you we have reached the minimum expectations for this third wave. That's always the time when we start to watch for a pullback, but it was never confirmed. And it's only really the minimum, yeah, for a third wave. So the ideal range for a third wave in a diagonal is typically the 1.236 extension to the 1.38, between $55 basically and 64. Above that level, we've got the 1.618 extension. That would not even be unusual. Above that, it gets extended. But for example, in a third wave, you know, we've had coins that rally to the 200% extension, maybe more. That's all possible in a third wave. So do not be surprised if we see further extensions until a pullback is confirmed. It's only doing what would be normal in a third wave at the moment, okay? So we have also been expecting higher prices for Solana. So it's currently moving in line with forecast. What you don't know, I mean, you can't predict every twist and turn. What you don't know, or what we didn't know, is do we get that in the third wave still as a more direct extension? Or do we see the wave 4 first before we move higher in wave 5? The fact that we are extending further in the third wave means that in the fifth wave eventually, so there should be a fourth wave pullback at some point and a fifth, that in the fifth wave we are likely exceeding that high that we're going to form in the third, which means it rather leads to further rising prices over the coming weeks. Condition is that we are holding relevant support levels. And the support is at $31.40, which means that as long as we're holding that level, we can watch for higher prices in a fifth wave. Very important to understand. That tells you a lot about the risk at the moment. Now, there are two wave counts still. We're tracking primarily the yellow one just because it's adhering better to it. You know, the price is adhering better to it, which is an A, B, C structure. And in here we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is likely going to be a significant top after this wave 5 is done. I've labeled it as B wave. It could be something different. Not so important now. We take it level by level, and first of all, we need to see a wave 4 play out anyway before a wave 5. There is also the white count, which is more bullish, which has just a different subdivision, different structures of the subwaves. This would be here the wave 1. The wave 2, the 3, 4, 5, it's eventually more bullish. However, it doesn't respect the subwaves so well. In this scenario, this was a 1, 2, and then this was an A wave, B wave, and we would be moving up in a C wave now. The problem is, in a C wave, this would be a 1, 2 setup, and I just don't have very clear subdivisions, okay? So it hasn't retraced where it actually would have needed to. So I will not rule out the white count. It just isn't respecting it as it should be. It just has to do with the, you know, with how far we moved up here before any pullback occurred, and the fact that only shallow pullbacks occurred. And it's all about Fibonacci work, okay? Work with the Fibonacci levels. Either way, this should tell you a lot about where we're likely heading. So the next extensions that are even achievable in a third wave are $64 and then, basically 79. And let's see how high we go in a third. So let's zoom in a bit. Looking at this third wave, it seems not exhausted yet. Okay, this was just sideways consolidation. It turned out to be just a triangle. So we broke above that resistance at 48.30. This was structural resistance here. The next resistance level is here at structurally around $59. We haven't reached that yet. We've moved up all the way to, well, very close, $57.80. It's reacting to the 1.236 extension to our next target. So it's time for a slow down a bit. But above that level, we've got 64. And above that level, as I said, 79. And we know from Elliott wave and our work with Fibonacci levels that in a third wave, the 1.38 extension is nothing unusual. Also, especially in crypto, the 1.618 is nothing unusual. So I definitely keep the door open for higher. If we come down and get a deep pullback, this wave 4 might provide another pullback entry point. Support is between $31.40 and $43.14. And micro support can be added now as well. It is just sort of, it gives you an idea of, which level needs to hold to continue to focus on higher. That can be very useful. Remember, throughout this entire move up, I've been giving you micro support levels and they never broke. So the overall focus was kept on higher. That's how you normally do it in the third wave, because otherwise you sell your position too early and things like that. Now it's a little bit too difficult. Well, it's a little bit difficult to say, okay, where do we mark the end of the fourth wave? It is indeed difficult to say. So this could have been an A. Yeah, it was probably a triangle that probably, and then we had here an A, B, C, D, E. I would probably have to go here. And that means we can take a 50% retracement level of that low to the high. And support is $48.30, which makes sense. It's also the previous, that resistance area. So this is micro support, basically between $50.40 and $48.30. If we see a sustained break below that level, which would also at the moment mean a break below the structural support, that would likely indicate, it would indicate, not confirm, it's also not certainty, but it would suggest that circle wave 4 has started with support between $31.40 and $43.14. So that means as long as we're holding above micro support, we continue to focus on higher, and the next target would be $64. That's my update about Solana. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.